Wagwan Wagwan, thank you for tuning in for another transformation. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to just work on the top of the dress. So here I have the t-shirt laid on the table, and I'm getting rid of that bottom sewing. Okay, so starting from the bottom, I'm going to be making some marks. They're going to be 2 inches apart. This is what I'm going to use to make my straps. So I'm going to start from the bottom towards under the arm. Okay, so I have went ahead and draw those lines 2 inches apart. But after really thinking about it, I think I'm going to go up about 2.5 inches. So as you can see, I am cutting them not on the line, but in between. So this making it 2.5. So just keep in mind to cut it 2.5 instead of 2. So I'm just going to use the first cut and keep using that all the way up to the under the arm to just make sure that they're all the same. Okay, so I'm going to attach all those pieces together. Then I'm going to fold them on the wrong side like here and just sew it all the way down to make the straps. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the part that covers the breast, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So to get started, I'm going to use my tape measure and measure my sides from one side to the next. Then I'm going to also measure from the side of one boob to the middle. Okay, so the measure I got was 8 inches, but I know that the shirt was a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to use half of the shirt to start for the bottom. That way I can have enough left over for seam allowance, and then I can always take it in later, because it's better to make it bigger, then I can adjust it, than to make it smaller, because then I won't be able to fix it. So okay, so as you can see here, I marked right in the center of the shirt, which is 12 inches. Then I'm going to mark in between that 12 inches, which would be 6. I'm going to mark it at the bottom, then all the way up, I'm going to mark it as well. Okay, so once you've marked the top, then that would be the center of the triangle looking shape that we're trying to get for the top of the boob. So once we've gotten that, I can go ahead and cut it out, and then I'm going to use that as the same what would I say, the same cutout for the other side of the boob. once I've gotten those two pieces, I'm going to attach them together. And if you see those little fingers, that's my little baby trying to crawl up on the table. So now I had the straps, and I'm going to be cutting the straps into 2 halves. And then, as you can see here, I've already went ahead and attached that to one side of the boob coverage. So I didn't sew it together, but I just pinned it so I could show you guys what that would look like before I went ahead and sew it together. So now let's work on the bottom of the dress. So I'm using the skirt, but the skirt is a little bit too long. So what I'm going to do, you want to measure it exactly how short you want it to be. Once I got that measurement, then I can draw a straight line across and then cut that. But make sure you've left about 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So after cutting it, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to fold it twice so the raw edge is not showing. And this is what I mean by making sure that you leave enough for seam allowance, because I'm going to be folding it twice. Then I'm going to pin it so that way I can take it over to the sewing machine and sew that piece down. Okay, so before I take it over to the sewing machine, I'm going to pin the top onto the skirt so that while I'm pinning the bottom, while I'm sewing the bottom down, then I can also sew the top onto the skirt. So right here, what you want to do is try the skirt and the top on so that you can position it correctly to fit your body, and then that way you can pin it exactly to cover your boob. So that's what I have done. Now I've pinned it, and I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. And that would be the final step. So now I'm going to show you guys what the finished result looks like.